From Ticker, you're watching She's the Boss. Here's Jules Brooke.
Hi and welcome to She's the Boss. My name is Jules Brooke. I'm the founder of Handle Your Own PR, and this show is all about female founders and amazing women doing incredible things in business. But before we start, I wanted to talk about the reality of starting a business right now, because a lot of people may or may not be thinking about it. I just want to encourage you all that it is the perfect time to be doing it right now, particularly if you're in lockdown in Melbourne. There are loads of people offering reduced and free services at the moment. I've seen people gifting their time. You know, if you need some help, just ask me, and that's all over LinkedIn and Facebook. And of course, you've got the time to do the research and plan your new business now. So anybody who is thinking about it, please give it a go. Use this time. It's a great time to think about things, to do some research and to get up and running. But anyway, let me introduce my two amazing guests today, both doing very different things. And I'm very excited to have two such different women. I've got Alison Cusack, who's the founder and principal lawyer at Cusack & Co., so her own company. But she's also a maritime-focused law, It's a niche maritime-focused law firm assisting shippers and freight forwarders with tailored contracts for their ocean carriage. How about that? There are apparently only 2% of women doing this. She's also the president of Wista Australia. And then I've also got Liliana Sanelli, who's the CEO of Perfect Events, a creative director, mentor, advocate, thought leader, and a super connector. So I'm really, really excited to have them on. Welcome, ladies. So great to have you on the show. Alison, I'm going to kick off with you. What is it exactly that you do? Because it sounds so different to anything I've heard about.
A lot of people always ask me that. So I work in shipping and maritime, and I work primarily in containerization. So if you're in Melbourne and you've gone down Footscray Road and you've seen all the containers on the side of the road,
that's
importing
you.
and exporting, that's me. Right? If you import or export, or you're in that supply chain, I assist the shippers and the freight forwarders who are dealing with the ocean carriers, protect them, make sure they don't, the whole David and Goliath. I look after the little guys.
Tell me, are there very many women in this field? Because I would imagine that was almost exclusively men.
It's predominantly men. The women are coming through with a fighting passion. A lot of women are starting their own businesses, so it's fantastic to actually connect with other women-owned businesses, and they love that there's a female lawyer out there who does this.
I bet they do. So the other thing is, what is Wista? I'll come to you in a second, Liliana, but I announced that Alison is the president of Wista. What is Wista?
So Wista is the Women's International Shipping and Trading Association, and it was created in the 1970s in England. It now spans 51 countries and over 3,000 women, and it's any woman who operates in the shipping and trading space, and it brings them together to network, to mentor, to increase professional development, and it's a sense of community.
Yeah, I would say the support would make a big difference for that in your industry.
I don't think I would have started my business if it wasn't for my Wista ladies.
That's brilliant. Fantastic. All right, now I'm going to move on to Liliana. Tell me a little bit about Perfect Events, why you created it, and the sorts of events that you run.
Sure. Hi, Alison. Well, I started the company. Hi, Alison and Jules. I started the company years ago. I was looking at you, Alison, silly Lily. 13 years ago on my kitchen table.
Wow.
We've produced 100 events, raised over $25 million for different not-for-profits around Australia and around the world. And we're really, really lucky. I have an amazing team. And as you can imagine, at the moment during COVID, it's a bit of a challenge because it was the first industry to be hit. But we're very excited to still be going and being present. As I've been saying, we're here for the long term, not the short term. So we do absolutely any event around Australia.
Well done, because I know that a lot of people kind of froze, particularly in the event industry. Can you tell us can you name some events that we might have heard of that you run?
Sure. We've been working with Melbourne International Film Festival for the last 10 years. the Olivia Newton-John Gala dinner and the walk, from the Parkinson's Victoria Walk to we were doing our first gaming cosplay convention this year, to various conferences, to the Fred Hollows events that we launched in Los Angeles, in Hollywood, with Joel Edgerton and a few of his friends.
Hollywood, I love that.
Yeah, we've done everything. It's been amazing to see the journey and just seeing how we raise money for different organisations too. Yeah.
Amazing. So you actually said to me yesterday that you've been running the Melbourne Film Festival for the last 10 years. How's that going to run this year? How are you adapting?
Yeah, look, as you know, it's quite a big challenge at the moment for a lot of organisations in terms of real live events, and especially in Victoria, the industry has been hit quite dramatically.
And who knows when we're going to be let out?
Pretty much, if we hear what's going on at the moment. So as with most big live events and festivals, they've become virtual. So they've gone online, the platforms, and they've really adapted to become it's this year they're calling it the 68 and a half.
Oh, that's a nice sort of hat tip to what's happening this year. Yeah. I like that.
It's amazing. Really good. Just people that excitement of still seeing movies on your couch.
Yeah, well, you know, I mean, of all the kind of events that you would think have to adapt, I would have thought that one is kind of a no-brainer because there is a lot of comfort in watching TV on the couch. So I love that. So now I'm going to move to Alison. Alison, can you tell me about why you chose the area of shipping and freight when it's dominated by men?
Well, I actually started off my university career attempting to study electrical engineering.
Right.
So my first degree was all male dominated. I think there was one female student for every 100 male students.
Lots of boyfriends.
And then
Sorry, move on.
I think I intimidated all the boys, let's be honest. And then I switched into law. And you know, I loved the law as soon as I went into it. I thought, this is great, it's practical, it's useful. And then I did it's called a moot competition, so it's fake law court. And I won the shipping one. And I went, this is shipping law? This is a thing? This is amazing. It's so real. So a lot of law is, you know, sort of these abstract concepts like a company and piercing the corporate veil. And then you've got a ship and you've got a container and the container falls off, or, you know, there's a ship runs into a wharf. You can see it. And when you've gone from electrical engineering where everything is to the power of -9 to a physical reality, I was like, this is the best fun. I want to do this. And from that moment, just laser focused, I'm going to be a shipping lawyer.
Well,
I didn't even sort of think about the whole male dominated aspect, because my parents were always like, you go and do what you want to do, Al. Don't let anyone get in the way.
That's great. And my parents were the same. And I hope most women have had parents that have encouraged them to just do what they want to do. But I do appreciate that, you know, you're going your own path, but you are actually probably breaking a whole lot of, not barriers, breaking a whole lot of traditions by sort of, you know, being female and taking a slightly different look at it. But listen, yesterday we had a very brief chat and you told me something really shocking about seafarers. Can you explain what seafarers are? Because I didn't know what they were before you explained it to me.
So as an Australia is an island, and we get about 97% of our goods via sea.
Yep.
So nearly everything you see on the shelves, not talking about our fresh fruit, but nearly everything you see on the shelves comes from overseas and comes via sea. Doesn't come by air, comes via sea. And shipping is the invisible trade because no one sees it. We've got about 300,000 seafarers currently stuck at sea.
How many?
This is the humanitarian 300,000.
300,000 people are trapped at sea. And that hasn't hit the media at all. I haven't heard that at all before.
It's an absolute crisis because what happens is a standard contract is 11 months at sea. That's You don't go ashore, you don't see your family, you do 11 months at sea. And so we think lockdown's bad. These people can't get off the ship.
Crazy.
The problem is because the airports are locked down, because visas are having problems, the seafarers can't repatriate to their home country via air travel. And so what's happening is they're extending contracts. And so some seafarers have now been on board for 14 months. And the
oh my God. So what's the solution? How are they going to be able to get off?
Well, one, we need more government attention. AMSA is the government authority here who are doing an amazing job, Australian Maritime Safety Authority, because it's a complex web of flag state, port state, visa, airport regulations, and it's the invisible workforce. We talk about essential workers. Seafarers are the definition of essential workers.
Front line, yeah, absolutely. That is really amazing to me that hasn't really become quite a big thing. 300,000 is not an insignificant number.
Shipping is invisible. I mean, how often do you hear about shipping legislation or issues affecting the ports hit the mainstream media? So for people who are wondering what they can do on a personal level, through Whistler Australia as the president, I've got strong partnerships with different other shipping organisations. One is actually the Mission to Seafarers in Victoria. Right. 717 Flinders Street at the Dockland, down there. Yeah. I've been inspired by the Business Chicks fundraiser they recently did. And so the Mission has an art prize every year, which is a major fundraiser for them. Unfortunately, their major sponsor pulled out at the start of this year. Yeah. And we're looking to try and fill a $30,000 hole in the budget. And so I thought, you know what, $25 donation. Yep. No, we're going to do $25 donation.
How can people get in contact with you or find out more about that quickly, Alison?
So just email me, cusack@co.com.au, get in touch. We're calling it Mission to 1200. So get in touch and information soon.
Let's do some LinkedIn posts about that as well. Moving on to you, Liliana, can you talk to me, with your years of experience as a woman in business, I am assuming, in fact, I can absolutely say without doubt that it hasn't always been plain sailing, because it never is for anyone. Can you tell me some of the things that might have happened and what you've learned along the way?
I think the biggest lesson for me is when you feel like you're being kicked down, you need to still keep going. And having and working in a very diverse space, I've had to learn quickly to adapt. So we've had incidents at events where I've been in a way attacked by different stakeholders. How do we work with that? How do you get your team to be safe? One example is where we've had talent walk off stage. I had 800 people in the room.
Oh my God, so what do you do then? And I guess each time something goes wrong, you put something in place so it can't happen again. So by now I imagine they are smooth. But what do you do when you've just started your business and some of your talent has walked off the stage?
Yeah, and I'm happy to share this because it was all over the news. It was Jerry Lewis, and God love him in heaven. But he had a moment and we had all the audio on stage break down and he just didn't want to stay. So he chose to leave. So you can imagine me running after him saying,
please.
Jerry, just one more second. And his last parting words weren't the nicest to me. So I had to go back in and the poor audience were like, is this part of the show? So it was a really interesting lesson, and we definitely just got everyone kept on going. The show still went on, and that's what you do in my event business. You keep going on. You just have to, yeah, you're right.
You look back afterwards and you go, oh my God, I thought my world had collapsed, but actually I did wake up the next morning and I did have to keep going. Are there any more sort of stories like that where something has happened and you've kind of had to change not only the event, but maybe just your plans going forward to adapt so that doesn't happen again?
The biggest thing with the events industry, there's no real peak body. So every event you learn something new. And one of the things that we learned was we had an event once where the doors weren't open. It was an older demographic. They were keen to get into the room, for example. It was a lunch. Yeah. They chose to stand on the escalator. The organisation, the venue that we were in, let them stand on the escalator. But you can imagine when they turned it on, it was a domino effect because the person at the top.
No!
All of a sudden, every single person on that escalator fell and the escalator started going. and people got quite hurt. So not only did I have an event that I couldn't start, I had ambulances coming in. We had
Liliana.
manage this. I had to manage the major stakeholders, and that's something out of my control. So as
absolutely.
A team, I had to get everyone together and say, you need to look after those people. Number one priority are our guests. I'll work out the rest.
My God, I don't know. Yeah. So what do you do now to stop that happening?
Yeah, we've got really detailed production plans, and these days with events, we also have a risk and safety officer, and that risk and safety officer cannot be anyone in the production team because you need the team to focus on their job. So the risk
and also
and
that sort of objective look at it all and kind of not being so close that they go, there is a really obvious thing where someone could get hurt.
Yeah, but who was to think that the older generation want to stand on an escalator?
No, I know you couldn't possibly plan for it, or that the escalator would sort of jolt, start and tip them all over. Oh my God, the thought of all those people hurting themselves. Terrible. So, okay, so Alison, what about you? So you're the owner of a law firm and in a pretty niche area. Have you got any tips or stories that you want to share about your business journey, that things that have happened that you've learned that maybe we can share with other women who are running their business?
I think the number one thing is stop trying to think you have to do everything. Just the sheer pressure you put on yourself to think you have to do everything, and that, I don't need to outsource anything, even though it'll make you quicker. Back yourself and outsource. They're the two main things. It is worth spending money on yourself, and it's worth spending money on your business. Don't shortchange yourself by, not thinking that you deserve it. I think scarcity is money mindset.
And I think the other thing that's obvious in what you do is the support of other women, and as you say, WISTA, and that you wouldn't have done it without them. And I would say that to most women that have support groups around you, just so that you're able to grow and learn from the other people. And if you do stumble, they can help lift you up. So Liliana, as an event biz, you must have been affected by COVID in a big way. And you've talked about bringing things online for the Melbourne Film Festival, but how in general are you adapting? I mean, do you think that we are going to be doing lots and lots of events going forward that we normally would have gone to a venue that we will be doing online?
I definitely think live events will come back, a given, because people just crave that human connection. But if you're talking about live events, especially here in Victoria, I'm not sure we'll see any live events by the end of the year or maybe early next year. And I understand in the other states they already have live events. So we've been really resetting and reinventing ourselves and have created an online marketing for our company. Online events. We have created an extension of our business called Cravings, where we keep people connected and they can eat in different houses.
I love that.
You get the food delivered to your house, and people can share a dinner like you're going to a fine dining restaurant, but you're at home. And this week alone, we've got 6 dinners, and one of the dinners is an apartment block where people have not met each other, but they want to connect and they're not allowed to. So there's a delivery of 20 boxes going to an apartment block. And they're having
what a lovely idea.
Yeah, and we're doing one tomorrow night actually with my team to say thank you for all their hard work and keep them motivated. So I think
that sort of thing is going to happen more and more. I know that with the She's the Boss lunches that I do, we've got a woman in the group who's the Prosecco queen. So she sent us out tasting boxes, and we're all drinking a bottle of Prosecco every week, which sounds as much fun as it is. So how can, So for the women that might be watching that are also in events, have you got any kind of advice for them, Liliana? Because I know that there's a lot of people just frozen in your particular industry and the hospo industry.
Yeah, absolutely. We've been doing a lot of mentoring masterclasses and talking to a lot of students. And the biggest question I get asked is exactly that, Jules. What do I need to do to keep motivated and keep in this industry? And my whole conversation is use this opportunity to upskill yourself. Use this opportunity to think differently. we came from the generation of keyboards, USBs, floppy disks. So we
That's
have to
right.
learn everything. Upskill yourself now and still network, connect with people, and find that mentor that you love and resonate with. And that's what I'm trying to do, is get some of these people to meet some of the mentors in the industry and know that there's still a job, there's still hope. It's going to be
Yes.
completely different, but it's still an industry. No one is not wanting to go to an event. Can you imagine not being able to go see, let's see, who's your favourite singer? I don't know. For me, it's Bon Jovi. Bon Jovi in concert. Not being able to
For
do
me,
that
it's not Bon Jovi.
Yeah, right.
But I know what you're saying. Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Of course.
Yeah,
And what about you, Alison? How are you being affected by COVID, and how are you adapting?
Well, the shipping industry got about a month's advance warning on this because the factories in China were closing down. So by the time it hit Australia, everyone in the logistics transport industry knew it was coming because the factories in China signaled to the world. So, for instance, border closures have been problematic for the other parts of the supply chain, getting trucking through, flights, your air freight. So for a lot of my clients, it's been very stressful, and it's been very much about survival and how do I get through the next thing, because the scheduling of the ships have changed, the timing have changed, the supply chain is not as robust.
How do you think that's going to affect us as in the general public? I mean, are we going to be able to buy things in the supermarket and in the stores soon?
Absolutely.
Or is there going to be a knock-on effect?
Please have full confidence in the food supply chain. Please have full confidence in the essentials, toilet paper, everything.
Yeah.
I promise that we have full integrity of the supply chain. I'm talking about all the other ancillary things. So I don't know if you saw, there was a container ship that lost about 50 containers overboard a couple of months.
No, 50 containers. That's quite a lot to be bobbing around in the sea.
It is off the coast of New South Wales. And so there's another break in the supply chain. So to all of my shippers and freight forwarders in the industry, take this time to realise, get proactive, look at your risks, get to know your risks. And to any female starting up a business, please don't shy away from the legal and financials.
No.
Get to know them, write down in there and understand your risk profile, and then make an informed commercial decision. Don't be put off by being scared. It's not scary.
Yeah, that's really, really good advice. Would you say the same, Liana? Like for anybody that, because obviously there will be students coming out of courses thinking, right, I'm going to go and work in the events industry, and going, ugh. And the same thing with students in general, like university students that would be relying on being waiters and whatever. What would you suggest to them? How can they adapt?
Definitely there is going to be an industry. It's just a matter of adapting and using this time to be a bit agile and upskill. But if you're going to start your own business, like Alison said, you need to prepare and plan for it. You don't just wake up and go, I want to start a business. So if that's as an event student, if you want to start a wedding business or be a talent manager, talk to people in that industry now, because guess what? They've got time to have a chat. Because when you're too busy working with clients, you're too busy doing that. So
you're right, yeah.
Use your contacts and just plan for what it is that you want to do, and look at the opportunities. And if that means you need to be the person emptying the bins to get the experience to be at a live event or work on set on a virtual event, kind of what we're doing today, use the opportunity, because every opportunity build your network, build your contact base, build your black book, let's say. So do that.
Yeah, and I know certainly with my Handle Your Own PR clients, I've been saying, get out into the media. Like, the media wants stories, and here's your opportunity to raise your profile so that when people do slowly come out of isolation, whenever it is, you're going to be the company that they think of going to. Would you agree that Alison, that pushing, Liliana, sorry, that pushing yourself out there is really important?
Yeah. Look, and Jules, don't laugh. We've been using this opportunity to finally talk about what Perfect Events does, because we're so used to talking about our clients, the amazing work we're doing and producing, the lives we're changing. So we've just been working with AIIA, and we've basically done an online campaign for the biggest pitch, a virtual online platform for innovative and technology awards. We just won another piece of business this week for Texas Instruments and working on a schools campaign. That's still events and campaigns, but I've had to reinvent myself and finally say, we've always done that, but it's not the first service. So what else are you doing that is on offer at the moment with COVID? That's what I'm just saying.
Good. And I was speaking to somebody who was saying, well, one of the other things for premium events is you could get speakers into an environment like this, say, and get them to do their presentation and have your team members watching or your audience watching from home. And of course, the other benefit for events is that if you have someone on the screen, there's the possibility that instead of them being a little dot on the stage that you're watching, they're much closer, and maybe there's that opportunity to interact as well.
Yeah, and we're seeing the connection piece, even though people are zoomed out, but they're connecting or resonating with the speaker, because guess what? I'm focusing on the screen. I'm focusing on that person speaking versus being distracted from over there.
That's right, all the people talking around you. Listen, both of you have been fantastic guests today. I've loved having you on. Alison, can you tell people how they can get hold of you?
Absolutely. So cusackandco.com.au, also on Instagram. Just drop a line, check out what we do. I'm always up for a chat and to see if I can help you.
Amazing. And Liliana, what's the best way to get hold of you or book a perfect event?
Just online, we've got perfectevents.com.au. Have a look. We're offering a conversation with myself, and it's got all about cravings. If you want to do a virtual dinner with family, friends, or your executive team. So online, perfectevents.com.au.
Fantastic. So for the women that are watching, I want you to think about what you can do to go online. How can you offer an online component to your course or your business? Because we are really now in the new normal and we need to be focusing on innovation. For the foreseeable future, things aren't going to change. So how can you adapt your business? Or if you're thinking about starting a business, how can you make it accessible online? That's really important for you to be thinking about that. And for those of you that have a business at the moment, don't be sitting back saying, I'll wait until the isolation's over. I'll wait until things go back to normal, because it might be another couple of years. Thank you to both my guests. You've been amazing. She's the Boss has got free Zoom lunches every Friday. I would encourage any female founders out there to come and join us. We also have a podcast where we can talk in a lot more depth about the sorts of things that these female founders are doing, and that is available everywhere from Spotify to iTunes. And for more information, you can go to she'stheboss.com.au. But thank you so much for joining me, and I look forward to seeing you next week, and I hope you love the new studio.
There are now more ways to watch Ticker. Download our apps for Apple and Android devices. We're live on Twitter and YouTube Live. And you can catch us on Amazon Alexa and Google Home. Head to the Ticker website for more.